again, groovers and tubers. Another exclusive interview here on ROX TV. I'm Roxy, and today I'm talking to Finnish hard rockers Rat Boogie, who've just released their debut single called Wonder Boy. No, not that Wonder Boy. And now I'm simply releasing their debut album, Bad Gravity. So Mika, you've just released your debut single called Wonder Boy. Tell us about it if you could, please.
The song?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Well, it's the first single of the forthcoming album, and it's a rock and roll song with a groove. We like to think of it as a groovy song, and lyrically it tries to maybe say something about, maybe a few friends of mine or people like that who work in the arts or in the music, with music, but not necessarily with big audiences, just, playing in the local clubs and pubs and keeping everybody in good spirits. And so I think that's a valuable thing to do, and maybe some encouragement for them is included, especially these days. It's needed.
Absolutely.
And although when I wrote that song maybe 1 year ago, I didn't know anything about the corona troubles or anything, but
maybe you were psychic.
Maybe I'm psychic, yeah.
So I mean, when was this song recorded?
This song was recorded last autumn, as the rest of the album was actually maybe September, October 19. And it took us a while because of the difficult spring to have it all mixed and mastered and finished. So, but it's part of the album as well.
Great stuff. And the album's going to be called Bad Gravity, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
How long have you guys been together?
This lineup has been around for, I would say, 3 or maybe 4 years. 4 years now, and we go back a long way with the bass player Mika, and we knew each other when we were school kids and started playing instruments together. That was like ages ago, and we've been in many different kinds of groups and playing together for most of this time, like all our lives. But of course, there have been some pauses, and then we found Mr. Pasi Aikio, who plays the drums, and he's a very experienced musician. He's been around in lots of Finnish bands and also recorded lots of records and been touring quite extensively. So we have this experienced bunch of players.
Yeah.
And 4 years now. So, like, making our own material started interesting us again maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So that was what we decided to do after playing in cover bands and things like that.
Yeah, so you've settled now on the traditional sort of rock 3-piece format.
Yeah.
It
seems to work for us. Although on the record there are some keyboard additions as well, but we like to approach it as the basic unit that's always been around in rock and roll, and if you can make it work, you can do anything.
Well, it's certainly worked for lots of bands. I mean, Cream for one. Look how big they got.
Sure.
Talking of
the Jam.
Go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the subject of influences, I mean, who would you say are your musical influences?
I guess every one of us has a bunch of influences that are like a mixed bunch of influences, and some of those can be heard in our music, and some of those are maybe not that evident. I don't know. For myself, I like very much the 60s, 70s classic rock bands and some singer and songwriter stuff, and even some blues and prog rock and maybe some of the new wave as well. I mentioned the jam, for example. That might be maybe one idea of the things we try to be doing. Maybe somebody like, I don't know, Supergrass, or lots of British bands actually.
That's on the single Wonder Boy. I mean, I detected a little bit of Foo Fighters in there.
Yeah, that's interesting. We talked about that. Of course, Foo Fighters is a great band, and it's a nice band. It's never been like any kind of model or anything like that. So always, it's very interesting hearing people say about these.
Yeah, it's
things that the music brings to their minds, and it's very often totally different to what we actually thought. But we never sit down and talk about these influences and talk about the other bands. We are, trying to aim at something that might have a little, I don't know, personality or something like that. We don't care that much about the influences, but they are there, of course.
Well, it's always in back of the musician's mind, isn't it? It does influence you even if you're not aware of it.
Yeah, of course. It's the big picture you think about.
Yeah. How have you guys been affected with the COVID and lockdown and things like that regarding getting together?
Yeah, it's affected us quite a lot. It took us longer to finish the record, for one thing, because we weren't sure when we were actually allowed to gather back to the studio to finish the whole thing and do the mixes. And of course, playing live, no gigs at all during the spring, no gigs during the summer. Hopefully, some sort of release party going on in August or maybe September. So it's affected everybody a lot, of course.
Yeah.
But things are opening up a little bit now, so there are some clubs opening and some small festivals still happening.
Yeah, so you're keen to get on the road with these new songs, I assume.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm confident that there will be some club gigs at least, locally or within Finland.
I would have thought so. I mean, it's got to come to an end sometime, hasn't it? I mean, otherwise, bands and venues are never going to survive.
Yeah, it's been even worse back there now.
Has it had a big impact?
Is it getting any better there?
It is, yeah. I mean, lockdown's been gradually being loosened. So, we're allowed to do certain things, but still no live shows to speak of, which is, drives rockers crazy.
Yeah.
What's the rock scene like in where you are? I mean, there's a lot of sort of dark metal over there, isn't there? I mean, I was wondering how you get traction in Finland.
Yeah, well, it used to be like that. Lots of heavy metal bands coming from here. I think they are still around, but just maybe a lot more like 5 or maybe 10 years ago. That was like the peak time for the Finnish metal things coming from the north, especially. Have you checked the map? Quite in the north. But it's a lively scene, I would say. There are lots of bands, lots of young musicians, lots of like trained musicians and really skillful players around. But it's not perfect. There are some venues and some clubs and some festivals, but it could be more. It could be more.
And if you have any rock bands that you know of, put them our way as well, and we'll interview them as well, because we always love to hear about new bands, and from anywhere in the world, because rock's rock.
Yeah.
It
used to be different because we are in the north. We are quite a long way even from the capital of Finland, for that matter. So it used to be a problem, but these days with the technology, it's not a big problem anymore because things happen anyway. You can spread your stuff around.
Yeah, so, looking to the future, I mean, you say this album's likely to come out. It's on Secret Records, isn't it?
Yeah, or Inverse Records, but I
Inverse
think
Records,
it's a sub-label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About September-ish.
Yeah, the album will be out middle of August, actually.
Great, so not long to wait, kiddies. Bad Gravity will be out mid-August, and
Yep.
we certainly think that you'll do well. I mean, it's got a groove that is very on point at the moment. What are your hopes for the future? I mean, more tours outside Finland? Would you consider stuff like that? Another EP maybe later on?
Yeah, sure, something like that. We've actually published an EP that was that's 2018, I think it was. Yeah, with 4 songs. So that was the first public thing. But in the future, we just hope that everything will be better for everybody. Really,
Yes.
We just like to carry on composing and playing and recording, and we actually have lots of good songs coming. We could start making the second album by tomorrow. For that matter, so we are good. But like everybody, we hope the situation will get better and everywhere. So
yeah,
music and culture in general will get a chance again, and we'd like very much be a part of that.
Absolutely. I'm quite sure you will be as well. I think we'll be hearing a lot more of you.
Well, thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, Mika, and we wish you the very best of luck with the single and the album when it comes out. I'm sure it's gonna do very well. It certainly deserves to.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it.
We certainly do, yeah. Thanks very much for the interview, Mika, and keep safe and well.
Okay. Stay healthy, everybody. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.